Hello. Thank you for helping us out with our national program, Voteless People is a Hopeless People. Brothers, this recording is pretty much just a very generic training on what we plan to be doing for our voter registration this year. This is a program in which we created. It's called Barbershop Blitz. So let's go into exactly what this is. So, Barbershop Blitz. It's a voter registration. It's a voter registration that we plan to conduct on Saturdays, October 1st and October 8th. The times are actually going to be flexible. I'll be talking about that towards the end. In terms of where we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing this at like 30 plus, almost 40 different Louisville barbershops. So I'll be discussing exactly which ones we're hitting and which ones you may be assigned to and help you get your assignment if you haven't already been assigned. All right, so the objective of this barbershop blitz is one, first of all, we want to register people to vote before October 11th. October 11th is the deadline for voter registration here in Kentucky. So we want to make sure that we do this before October 11th. Hence, that's why we have the dates set as October 1st and October 8th. Secondly, we want to make sure that we encourage people to vote. There's a lot of individuals who are running around saying, well, I don't like either presidential candidate. I don't like Trump. I don't like Hillary. So therefore, I just don't plan on voting. Please, we need to remind individuals that there are far more names on their ballots than just those two individuals. So if you come across anything like that or anybody saying that, remind them of all the local races that are run. And it's okay for you to educate yourself on that or ask me any questions if you have any thoughts or ideas or need any guidance on how to approach this obstacle if you come across it. But lastly, we want to make sure that we also provide voter information. So in regards to registering people, um, I know this sounds cliche and corny, but when we're walking into barbershops, in short, make sure that you have eye contact, or at least try to connect with someone with some eye contact, and simply, sometimes what helps is use the clipboard. The clipboard is going to have a sign on there asking people to register to vote. Sometimes that makes it very easy. All you have to do is pretty much just point at the sign, and people will start to understand exactly what you're asking them. You can simply ask, "Are you registered to vote?" If they say no, just ask them if they are willing to register. I want to remind you there's going to be certain individuals who cannot register to vote. They may have felons that prevent them from voting. In the event that you come across that, there's no need in us trying to provide paperwork for them to acquire or restore their voting rights because that paperwork takes about 12 months of process and it's still not a guarantee. So if you do come across someone who is not registered to vote or cannot vote currently in Kentucky of their because of felony convictions, um, in short, you could say the NAACP as well as Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, we are working on that. We have been supporting House Bill 70 to try to restore voting rights for Class 2 felons. But I say all of that to say this. Be very simple. Are you registered to vote? Are you willing to register? When it comes to voting, I mean, not voting, when it comes to registering, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be handing out voter registration cards. One of the things that I'm going to provide you is a clipboard that has these cards on it, and it'll have some of these highlighted. What I encourage you to do is also go through and highlight a couple of more just so you're familiar with what needs to be filled out. I'm going to run through this very quickly and give you some insight in regards to um, how to fill this card out. The very top, they have to be a citizen and they have to be 18 on the day before the election. So we have to make sure that they're a citizen. We have to make sure they're of age. The next box that you see here where it says check one, um, if they are a uh, new registrant, make sure they check that box. There's going to be people who say, "Hey, I need to change my address. I know I'm already registered, but I just moved." Then they also ask, "Well, how do I update my address?" This is it. You fill out the same card, just mark change your address. Same thing for a name change. If someone recently got married, In the event that somebody wants to do a party change, that's completely okay. That doesn't really matter here because it's a general election. Party changes are far more important before a primary. But nonetheless, they can do that if they like. It has been previously determined that the Social Security number is required. It is not. I repeat, the Social Security number is not required. It is completely optional. I got that directly from Secretary Allison Grimes and her secretary. They informed us that the Social Security number is not required. In terms of the date of birth, we need that. The county, I repeat, not the country, but the county you live in. Typically, this will most likely be Jefferson County. By the way, if you come across anybody who says they live in Indiana, this registration is only for individuals in Kentucky. I repeat, only for individuals in Kentucky. So there's no need to have someone from Indiana to fill out one of these. We would like to get the home phone. We would like to get the gender. The name, first name, last name is definitely required. Middle if they have one or an initial. We definitely need the address. That address is how they get precinct. So based on this address, they know exactly where the polling place will be for the registrant. So make sure you get this, and not their PO box office, PO box number, because that's where they receive their mail, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's where they live. So you want to get where they live. Now, if they do want to collect their mail via PO box, this second line you see under here that I don't really have highlighted, they can put that information in there. The reason why it's important for us to know where to mail things is that once they fill this out and send it in, the county clerk's office is going to send this person information about their polling place, etc., and you send them a confirmation, or they should, within 3 weeks. So that's a good reason to put in a PO box if they only check their mail via the PO box. Right after that, you see the party registration. You want to make sure that you have them update one of those. If they don't really know and not sure, they can mark other. It's completely okay, and they can write in independent if they want. Last but not least, you want to make sure that they sign and date. There are two witness boxes under here. The only time that the witness boxes come in handy is if an individual that you're trying to register cannot sign, either because of a disability or because literacy complications. In the event, you ask that registrant to just make their mark with an X, and then you have to have two people witness to say that they actually saw that. All right. So common questions that happen when we start doing some of these voter registrations. One of the first things you always hear, I just moved or I plan to move. How do I update my address? We kind of went over that already. Some people ask about their driver's license address because they want to know, do they need to bring the driver's license, etc. You don't require voter IDs, if you will, in Kentucky as of yet. But if they would like to bring their driver's license, it would be best that it's updated to the latest or to the current address. People ask about changing their party affiliation. We kind of talked about that already. These questions are very important. Often when you go and do voter registration, one of the key things that does happen is that you get almost more questions than you get registration. People ask questions like, where do I vote? Where can I get an absentee ballot? How do I confirm that I am registered because they think they're registered? People ask about absentee ballots not for themselves, but sometimes for their children who might be in school, people who have their kids who might be in town, but they might be on fall break, things like that. How do they get an opportunity to actually make sure that they cast their ballot? Other people will ask, is it possible to register online? So what I'm about to show you is a way that we can answer all of those questions when we come across them. What you'll also be receiving in your materials, I'll be giving you business cards pretty much to hand out. It'll have a link to our local branch of NAACP where members or where individuals can go and log in, or not log in, but register to vote. If you go here, we really want to push this site because it gives the NAACP the opportunity to capture information so they can use it for get out the vote efforts later on as well. So although there's another link which is called govoteky.com, we're pointing to that same site, but we want to send people to NAACP because they'll have an opportunity to pick up information. Additionally, in terms of getting additional information about voting to answer some of those other questions, elections.jeffersoncountyclerk.org. I hope you appreciate that I'm putting this on a business card because memorizing that and asking people to write it down doesn't always work the best. It's much easier if they have those questions. We point them to the right location, right? So, with that being said, I wanted to kind of show you what that looks like. This is the website for um, NAACP Louisville branch. As said before, right here on the front, if they click here, this is where we kick off registration. So, well, as I said before, they come here, they fill out all of this information, and when they submit that correctly, this information is captured and given to the NAACP so they can use it later. But it also launches the site for voter registration, online voter registration for Jefferson County, or sorry, the state of Kentucky. The other link, elections.jeffersoncountyclerk.org, this is where you can confirm if you're a voter. You can figure out exactly where do you vote to find your polling place. You can get sample ballots if you want to. And it's very easy to use. For example, when you do open these up, um, they'll ask for very simple information like your first, your last name, and then just like a date of birth. So these are things that the Board of Elections has put together. These are websites that make it very easy for individuals to figure out more information and also do much more research on where to vote, getting sample ballots, etc. All right. And let's keep going here. Talked about that, talked about that. Materials that I'm going to be providing. There's going to be a list of barbershops that I'm going to make available to you. You should see that in the comment section of this video. So down below in the comment section, I'll make sure that I'll have a listing, or I'll have the address to our list of barbershops in an Excel spreadsheet. If you're in our GroupMe, I've put the link out there in GroupMe, but I'll put the link below in the comments so that you can reach the Dropbox address for this listing. Also, I'll be giving you the voter registration cards. I'll be giving you clipboards. I'll be giving you pins, a highlighter so you can highlight some of the cards, the info cards, the business cards, as I was saying. You'll get the registration cards. And I did mention that I was going to include voter registration forms. I'm not going to be providing that because, as I said before, it's going to take about 12 weeks, and we don't have 12 weeks. Um, all right, let me pull out of here real quick. One of the things that I wanted to show is who we currently have listed. A lot of these individuals I have already um, done a training with. So this video will be for the individuals such as Legene Brown, um, Cecil Brookins, Marquise. There's somebody else in here, probably Charles Pipus. Individuals I have not had an opportunity to connect with. So please, this video pretty much is for you, and to make sure that you have an idea of what we need to do. But more importantly, something to tell you, all the other individuals that I've already met with, um, they've been able to give me an idea of which barbershops they would like to already visit. So let's talk about the barbershops for a minute. As I said before, there's about 30 to 40 barbershops, as you see here. I created a map, and there's also going to be a link to this very map also in the comment section as well. It's going to come in handy because you'll be able to quickly get an idea of what sections of the city that we're going to be in. We got places all the way out in, we got a barbershop all the way out in Prospect. We got one far down Dixie that some other individuals can pick up. But what I did in the other training is I pretty much started sectioning off these areas. I think this is our J-Town East. This is South Central, if you will. There's the Central, like downtown and Highlands. section, and then there's the Shively and West End section right here. What I did is you'll see those in the listing of barbershops, that Excel spreadsheet that I mentioned. You may see your name on there. I've probably paired you up with someone. Here's the benefit of this. Um, when it comes to your assignment and the day that you're assigned to go out to the barbershops, I'm going to give you the material so that you have the opportunity to go at your own leisure. So that way, if you have something to do early in the morning, you can go more so in the middle of the day or the afternoon. If you're busy in the afternoon, well, you can go, a little bit earlier. It's all about how to make this easier, facilitate this for your schedule. And also, you can connect with whoever you're working with, and you guys can go out and hit this at your own pace. Just hit all of the barbershops that you're assigned to. Um, with that being said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me either on GroupMe or shoot me a text if you have my number. One important thing is as you go out and you go and do these voter registrations, one of the things I want you to know is that we are calling. Um, I I myself, Brother Compton, and another volunteer from NAACP, we're making phone calls to all of these barbershops to let them know that we're coming. So don't feel too out of place when you show up. They should have at least, if the owner hasn't talked to us, we've at least left a voicemail with them or a message with them, let them know that we would be coming out um, to conduct voter registration. One of the things that I want to ask you to do is also be sure that you wear paraphernalia, rock your letters. I also want to ask you to feel free to take pictures and post them on social media. If you don't feel comfortable posting them on social media, take pictures of yourself, any registration that's happening on the scene. Take pictures of with the barbershop owner if they're up to it, if they're excited about it. Feel free to take pictures of. I know it sounds corny, but even take pictures of the sign of the barbershop. The reason why I want to do this is that I want to be able to post things, put it out on Facebook to let people know that alphas right here in our city are doing what we're supposed to do in regards to this national program, Voteless People is a Hopeless People. So thank you very much for participating. Thank you for helping out. I greatly appreciate it. The organization appreciates it. And let's go get them.